respecting the old school methods. That's how one NBA coach leads. And in a minute, we'll be talking to Pistons head coach J.B. Bickerstaff about business, life, family, and of course, basketball. You're in the Enterprise Zone from Detroit. Hello, everyone. It's Jabari Young, senior writer at Forbes, and I'm in Detroit. And I'm joined by Pistons head coach J.B. Bickerstaff, #1 in the conference right now, #1 in the NBA almost. You want to win a championship this year, man?
We'll be as good as we can be. I'll tell you that.
I love it, man. JB, thank you so much for the time, man. I really appreciate it. Always good seeing you. And, you know, I'll start at the top of the year, man. Basketball aside, how's the year been for you, the family?
It's been great. You know, obviously I got 3 young ones that are in school playing soccer. You know, so all that's going well. Working with these guys has been phenomenal. You know, just continuing to see them grow. Get better every single day, the way they've embraced each other.
Yeah.
So all in all, it's been really, really good flip of the year for us.
Yeah. You got a girl, right?
Yeah, 2 of them.
Yeah. What's it like being a girl dad? I got a 12-year-old, man.
Yeah. I got a 13 and a 14-year-old girl. And it's awesome. Yeah. You know, it comes with different challenges, as you know. But, you know, the way they love on their dad is different. The way they care about us, the way they show they care. Being able to go out there and support them and watch what they do, you know, on the soccer field is awesome. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I'm fortunate. You know, I think we all are. And I know, you know, when I get older and I need somebody to take care of me,
it's gonna be your daughters.
At least one of them will.
And they say you take care of your daughters, they'll feed you steak as you get older.
There you go.
You know, I love it. You in the stock market? You into it?
Yeah. I've got obviously I've got my financial advisor by the name of Ben Lincoln, who is phenomenal with what he does, how he helps educate me on the decisions that we're making and the things that he's doing. So, you know, I'm really, really confident in what he does for us. And you got to have somebody you trust. And he's one of the guys I really, really trust.
Yeah. You got a stock for me? You got a stock that maybe is done well by you or something you're looking at buying?
I have to go take a look at it. I have a portfolio,
I thought you was going to say NVIDIA.
Everybody says NVIDIA.
Well, listen, man, what's been the soundtrack to your year, man, so far in 2026, music-wise? Like, what are you listening to, keeping you creative and winning and positive?
I'm old school, so I'm still like all the 90s hip-hop and R&B. All the way back to like 112, Total, Big, obviously Jay-Z. I try my best to keep up with these young boys and my kids listening to what they listen to, but it's just not the same.
Yeah. You have a particular artist that you know, no matter what, you can go to. That's going to be the music that takes you wherever you need to go in your mentality.
Yeah, like different things, right? Like when I go in the weight room, like I love to put on Jeezy. And Jeezy pushes me through, you know, whatever it is that I'm doing in the weight room.
Was that?
Yeah. Yes. My President's Black. That was one of my favorites of his also. But then it's like, you know, I will listen to Eminem if I'm getting ready to get into competition mode. You know, when I want to think deeply, it's a lot of Jay-Z and J. Cole. So just guys like that, you know, I love the lyrics, and that's what I've always been about is like how guys can use words and play with words and double entendres and those types of things. And they make you think, right? They can be telling you a story about, you know, one thing, but, you know, the way it's put on the record, you know, it sounds like it's a club song, but really behind it is a message in it that you can hear too.
Yeah, that's how I feel when I listen to Nas, either his first one, you know, or it was written. And it's like, you know, back then he was so introspective, you know, and he was young, but I mean, that was a bad boy back when he was young. Still dope now, but Nas is my go-to.
Okay.
Yeah. You walk into a 5th grade class and they probably know who you are, JB, but if they don't, right? They say, well, what do you do, Mr. Bickerstaff? What do you say? I'm an NBA coach. That's easy, right?
Yeah, well, it's funny because people, you know, will ask you, they'll be like, man, I swear I know you from somewhere, but I don't know exactly where I know you from. And I always just kind of play like, I'm not sure, you know. But then when they ask me what I do, I'm just like, I coach basketball.
Yeah.
And then they're like, where? Or what, you know, you get the next one like, what level or what? And then I was like, you know, I coach in the pros or whatever. And then they keep diving deeper and deeper, and then it finally gets out, you know what I mean? But it's one of those things that it's hard, you know, you don't want to just tell everybody, you know what I mean? So if they figure it out, they figure it out. But it's not one of those things that you just run around, you know, I'm the coach of the Pistons, you know.
Because it makes you sound like you're egotistic.
Right, exactly.
Well, listen, man, let's start right there, man, as we talk business on the court before moving off. But again, you guys are winning, right? #1 in the Eastern Conference, man. What are you still learning about this franchise? You know, I covered the Spurs for a number of years, JB, and being down there with Pop and RC, you kind of get an appreciation about appreciating the process and appreciating the season. They broke things down by 20-game increments, right? And they analyze it afterwards. What are you still learning about your team?
I mean, just where our ceiling is. You know what I mean? I still don't feel like we're playing our best basketball. And you watch us month by month, and we've continued to improve and continue to get better. And that's the thing that I'm, most proud of. Like, I love watching these guys go out and compete together, the way they share the game, the way they celebrate one another. We've had so many different guys through this season be the hero, right? And not one time has someone, when it's not their night, been frustrated or not celebrated whoever the hero is that night. And to me, that's how you build team, is you got a bunch of guys that are willing to sacrifice for something greater than themselves.
Yeah.
And our group has done that. So that's what I'm most excited about, is like, I come to work every single day and I don't have bad days, right? Like, I don't have to deal with the up and down emotions of, some other guy, or some guy bringing another guy down, or some guy questioning, the system or whatever it is. Like, we come to work every single day with guys that are eager to learn, that want to have fun, and that want to do it together. So that's why I feel like the sky's the limit with this group. We'll take our steps and we'll go process. Like, we don't get caught up in big picture things. Like, we worry about today. And if we get better today, we know what the results are going to be. And then we'll worry about tomorrow. We'll get better tomorrow. And that's our focus, is like, we take it in that small of increments where it's every single day we're trying to win.
Yeah. What do you learn about yourself as a leader? I mean, because you're a head coach, that's technically the CEO of on the court, right?
Well, I mean, each situation you're in, needs something different. One of the things that I take very seriously is creating an environment where people can feel like they can be the best version of themselves, right? So we try our best to break down all the barriers, all the walls where someone has to come here and feel like they can't flourish being who they are, right? Because if people feel comfortable and confident being who they are, and they don't feel like they have to hide certain things, they're going to go out and perform better because they've got that freedom, and that, that hesitation isn't on their mind. So that's one of the things that, I take pride in, is trying to create an environment where, whoever you are, wherever you come from, you can be confident and free that you're not going to be judged because you're that. And you just see guys' confidence grow, and their performance grows because of it.
Yeah. Over the years, how have you gotten better as a leader? I mean, because, seeing you over the years, man, I mean, there were times where I know you got a raw deal, in Houston and in Memphis and then Cleveland. And it's to see you have the success now, I can't lie. It's like, it's really, really good, right? I really feel very, very good that you're having success, because I know the challenges you went through. But throughout those challenges, again, you do improve as a leader, right? How have you improved over the years, taking all of those misfortunes, and you had a lot of success in Cleveland, but applying it to what you're doing now?
Well, you understand how to manage people and manage the situation. And I think that way you take the same approach to it, but you understand the circumstances that you're working in. And I think that's one of the things for me is, being who you are all the time, no matter the results. That's been the biggest thing that I've learned from and grown over the past couple of years. And that's why we talk about the process, right? If you pay attention to the process, get better every single day, you'll see season by season, month by month, the results that you want. I think sometimes we try to skip process and make decisions based on what we think the outcome is going to be. And then that allows, for the up and down. And that's not sustainable. What's sustainable is focus on the process. Think about, okay, how does this small thing impact the big thing if I continue to do this small thing properly every single day? So that's where I've learned the most, is like, let's just pay attention to that. And then we'll get to where we want to go if we're great at all those little things.
Yeah, and you kind of putting the lens on the management side, right? Because a lot of with coaches, you got to manage egos. You're dealing with grown men who are very highly paid, who have egos themselves. Like, how do you deal with egos, especially when you see someone who maybe has it coming into your team, and you have to kind of, again, break down those barriers? How do you do that?
With genuine relationships. I think that's an understated part of our business, because people make it feel transactional, because there is so much money involved. You can be traded, you can be fired. There's all those things that make our job seem transactional. But what we try to do is build genuine relationships with people that, will last longer than our time with those people. And that way, if they can see where I'm coming from and how our staff coaches without ego and involves them in the process of decision making, that allows them to kind of, understand that, yes, you have your ego, you have your pride, but because you feel like you're a part of what we're doing, right? Like you can put your ego to the side because now this is yours and you have ownership in it all and ownership in the process. Is it foolproof? No, because some guys you just have a hard time with who don't want to buy into something like that. But here in Detroit, we're fortunate to have guys that just buy into it. They're willing to put their egos to the side because they want to accomplish something great, and understanding that greatness doesn't come from individual success. Greatness comes from the success of the team as a whole, and then you're rewarded as an individual.
Yeah, you coached against him, and now you're coaching him. Seeing the development over the years, and he is a bona fide all-star now, and on that verge of superstardom, continuing to win. What do you like about Cade Cunningham? Like, what did you maybe learn about him that you didn't know?
I haven't been around a guy that has the ability to grow and lead the way that Cade does. It's extremely unique, his ability to continue to get better. And I've said this about him publicly before, but like he can get full without taking food off your plate, right? So his teammates can continue to grow and get better, and he can and help them get better, but he doesn't have to eat what's there for them and eat up and take up other people's space. And those leaders and superstars are unique. He's the standard bearer of what our style is as far as how we treat one another. He's never a guy that needs to be separated from the team. He's the guy that's always bringing the team together and around the team, and no matter what it is that they're doing. And I put him in the ilk of Steph Curry and Tim Duncan, as far as those humble superstars who they don't need much, but they'll do the things that you need them to do and lead when they need to lead in the toughest of manners.
Yeah. Well, you said Tim Duncan, and I'm glad you said that because I remember being around a younger Kawhi and seeing how the Spurs were molding him. And Pop was saying, hey, I want you to study film of Jordan. I want you to study film of Bruce Bowen. I want you to study those guys because there was something about their defense. And obviously Michael was just Michael, but he wanted Kawhi to kind of look at the way that they moved on the court, the things that they did. And I clearly see that Kawhi has adopted a lot of that, right? Are you telling Cade, hey, look, study this dude right here because I really feel like this, if you study something, you're going to pick up a lot of things and get to that star level?
Yeah, well, this summer we talked about it quite a bit, actually, because of the way teams defend us and the way that he needs to be able to score in small spaces. We talked about watching Carmelo Anthony film and being able to score, at the nail or on the logo with minimal dribbles, right? Before the defense can come and trap you or get to you and those types of things. And, Melo was one of the most efficient scorers from those spots. He didn't need a bunch of dribbles. He'd give you a jab step right into it. He'd give you one bounce.
He was great at the jab step.
To the rim. Yeah, so being able to score before the double teams can get to you, those are the types of things that we've talked to him about. And Melo's one of those guys that came to mind.
He uses the mid-range a lot too, Cade, right? And that game, you see it as a head coach, is that still a part that guys don't really utilize enough, the mid-range?
Yeah, it's a misunderstanding of analytics, right? Like analytics tells you that the three-point shot is, the layup, dunk, whatever, but so many teams and players think the three-point shot is where it's at. But when you take it and you break it down, all those analytics are based on 30,000 shots, right? So when you're playing in a game that may have 100 possessions total, right? If you take a mid-range shot, which is 47%, or a three-point shot, which is 33%, or average about 35%, like possession by possession, you want to take the 47% shot, right? You're in an end-of-game situation. You need a basket. You settle on a three-pointer because that's what analytics say is the better shot. But the possession tells you that you just need 2 points. You go take the 47% shot. And I think deeper in the playoffs, you look at it, right? Those three-point shots come down. The mid-range shots go up. Go back like a guy like SGA, that Phoenix Suns run that they had, like Kevin Durant. Like these guys take mid-range shots when it matters most. And that's what impacts winning is that fourth quarter, that bucket where maybe there's only 25 possessions in that bucket. So you got to value the analytics of the two-point shot more than the three-pointer.
Yeah. Listen, as you guys continue to win and you may find yourself in the finals, conference finals, you're going to get more exposure. People are going to see more of your face, right? They're going to know. If they don't know now, but if for someone who didn't know, man, you take a step back. I mean, you grew up in Denver, Colorado. What was that like for you? And what were some of the things that that place taught you that you're still utilizing today as a man?
I'm fortunate, and like being who my dad is. My mom was a school teacher, so I never looked outside of my house for role models, right? We moved around quite a bit because of my dad's job. We got to Denver when I was in the 7th grade, was able to go through high school there. But no matter where we moved, I always had them, right? So being able to watch the way my mom sacrificed so much because my dad was traveling, he was gone, he was busy, and she had 3 of us that she had to take care of and make sure that we were where we needed to be, that we were loved, that we felt supported, we were helped with our homework, like all the things that, she had to sacrifice for us, help mold, where I am now and what my idea of teaching is. And then my dad, obviously, as, a basketball coach, executive, all those things, like I watched how he treated people. I watched how he led. And he treated, whether it was, the best player on the team to the ball boys, the same. He showed them the same amount of respect that they wanted, that he would want, he gave to them. And he was always honest with people. So I took those things into mind as like the sacrifice of my mom as a teacher, her willingness to pour into others to see young people develop and grow. My dad's leadership style of honesty and respect. And that helped mold me, into the coach that I am today and how I build relationships with the guys that I'm coaching and trying to help them develop, like when my mom was a teacher, to help them develop and move on to whatever the next phase is for them.
Yeah, well, you are a coach now, but you were also a player, right? You played in college.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting, though, because obviously you didn't get to where you wanted to go. Did you want to go to the NBA? You played college basketball?
Yeah.
But, I meet college athletes all the time. I even met one recently, and their career's over, right? The injury, they can't play anymore, and they're trying to figure it out. How did you figure out what you wanted to do once you realized, I cannot go anymore as a player?
Well, it was an interesting journey for me, and it was one of the advice of my mom. She always told me you better have a plan B. That was her thing. Like I wanted to play in the NBA, but she was like, your education is always going to be your plan B. I broke my leg, both bones in my lower leg, both my junior year and senior year, and that was pretty much it for me from a basketball standpoint. But because I did have my degree in speech communication, I opened up doors for me. So my first job coming out of college, I was a radio color analyst for the Minnesota Timberwolves. At 23, 24 years old, I was there calling games. The team was Latrell Sprewell, KG, Sam Cassell, and that group when they went to the Western Conference Finals. So that gave me an opportunity to see the game of basketball from different ways, right? Like, and how many other ways there are to be involved in the game of basketball, because you get the behind the scenes of the broadcast work, you get the behind the scenes of, what the ticket sales look like, what happens in front offices. I was lucky enough that group let me be a part of it. Flip Saunders was the coach at the time, and he let me come to practice every day. He let me come to shoot around every single day. Kevin McHale was the general manager president. Like he spoke to me every day about what he saw, how he built teams, all those things. So I got to see the game from a different perspective there. And I just knew, be honest with you, like I grew up, I knew I was going to be a coach. I didn't know at what point in time. I obviously, wanted to play a longer stint and then get into coaching. But I knew I wanted to be a basketball coach from a young age. And all those things because of my dad. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Like we would go to practices with him and I would watch, and how he organized and, how he brought people together and helped build team. And, I just admired the way that he approached the game and the way that, we still have friends like Dale Ellis, for example. Like my dad coached him in the late 80s, and he's still a family friend because of that relationship with the way that he treated Nate McMillan, for example, another guy. Like there's so many guys that I could go on and on about from that group, like Gary Payton, Sean Kemp, like all these guys that because of the way he interacted with them then, like we still consider them family now.
Yeah, Nate McMillan was a hard coach, man. He was in Portland. He told LaMarcus Aldridge, stop shooting threes, get on the block. What are you doing? But listen, you look at your career, man, as a whole, right? Obviously college basketball as a player didn't go the way you wanted to, but you still found your way, worked with your dad down in Charlotte, and then that just blossoms into its own career. Again, making stops in Memphis, making stops in Houston, Cleveland, and now you're here. Describe your career in one word.
Resilient.
Resilient.
Yeah.
Why resilient?
There's just been so many ups and downs and so many no's, whether it's being fired from a job, whether it's interviewing for a job and not getting the job, whether it's moving from front of the bench to behind the bench, like all those things that, I've been through, still figured out a way to work out and put me in the position that I'm in now. And this is, I'll just be honest, the greatest job I've had. Organizationally, working with Tom Gores. Trajan Langdon is an unbelievable human being, but also
San Antonio.
Right, there's another one, right? But understands like how to build team, how to care about people that he's working with, how to lead with a silent confidence and security, and just doing the right thing, and then working with these players. I could not be more fortunate to be in the position I'm in, and that's where we have conversations just amongst our coaching staff. It's like, I truly believe if you do the work and you treat people a certain way, that if you do things the right way, you'll end up where you're supposed to be. And I feel like this is where I'm supposed to be.
And your journey, again, as you're going and coaching, these type of lessons probably pop up from time to time, but what would you say is your biggest failure, and what did you learn from it?
That's a good question. I would say one that sticks out to me that kind of shaped me was early on in my career. When I was in Charlotte with my dad, just kind of learning to figure out what was going on. And so my dad gave me a scout. I'm preparing the scout, and we had a scout team that you would go out on the floor with. You would run them through the drill, the sets, so that when we went to practice, they knew what we were doing, right? So this was in my first year in Charlotte, matter of fact, because we were at Fort Mill, the old practice facility down there. And I'm going through the sets, and I'm just butchering them. No, we'll start here. Now come back. No, do this, and no, try this one, and do this. And so one of the veteran players, who I will we will leave nameless, sees another one of the veteran players come by, and I hear him, he said, "This guy doesn't know what he's doing." And that moment on, I never wanted that to happen to me again. So like my preparation changed, like, the time that I put in to make sure everything that I was doing was like spot on. That was one of the things that stood out to me, and I'll never forget that moment. I'm thankful for that moment because it helped shape me. But it's one of those things you never want to have happen again.
It was probably embarrassing too.
Oh, it was,
your stomach
yes,
though.
Yes.
How long before you could look them in the eye again?
I mean, it was quick because you better, because these dudes, if they don't,
you lose their respect.
Yeah. So it was immediate, like, okay, I'm coming back tomorrow, and I'm gonna be better tomorrow. And that's the way it was, and it worked out. Yeah. And I still have great relationships with both those guys to this day.
Yeah. What would you say JB Bickerstaff's superpower?
Getting the most out of people. Finding ways to help people become who they want to become, and play with or be confident in who they are, is something that I take pride in, because all these guys are so talented, right? Like when you make it to be one of 450 or whatever the number is, one of 5,000 around total ever players to play in the NBA, it's not our responsibility as coaches to get in your way, right? It's our responsibility as coaches to help you flourish and make your dreams come true. And so that's what I pride myself on, like really diving into and helping players become the best versions of themselves.
Any missed investment opportunity, something that was brought to you? Did you still regret like not picking up?
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess it's been a little volatile, but I remember when we were in Memphis and Nick Van Exel was one of the coaches there with us, and he started talking to us about Bitcoin. And back then, like, he was like, "I'm telling you, man, like, you need to get into it. You need to get into it." And so all of us as coaches like, "Man, get out of here." And so we were thinking about doing it, but back then you had to like download one app, get a wallet in this app, and then transfer the money from the wallet in this app to this other, And then, I mean, we saw it explode, and we were all like, "Dang, Nick was right." But that was the one, I think, like the timing of it, and you didn't have a lot of information, but people just kept telling you that, it was going to hit. We missed out on that one a little bit.
What about one that you're very happy that you did, get, or I should say one that you're happy that you didn't invest in? Like, man, I'm glad because that was done. It was bad.
Well, I'm gonna say this, and this may give me a little bit of trouble, but when we were in Cleveland, we owned a couple of cookie stores, and those cookie stores were flourishing at the time when we bought into it, and then the market got oversaturated with the cookie store, and it took a tumble, and it was bad. And we were actually able to get out of it in time where we didn't take the brunt of the hit. Yeah.
Right. But you took a hit, though.
We took a hit. Yeah, we took a hit, but it wasn't as bad as it would have been if we'd have stuck around. I'd say that.
Yeah. We'll get you out of here on this, man. My favorite business book, Jim Collins' Good to Great. What's the difference between a good NBA head coach and a great one?
The ability to relate to people. and the ability to bring people together for something bigger than themselves. I think a lot of us get caught up in X's and O's and the basketball piece of it, but that's such a small part of it when you're trying to build what actually is team. I think we overlook that. Like, you think you throw a bunch of dudes in the locker room and they're team, right? That doesn't make team. Like, talent with low chemistry underachieves. Chemistry, less talent, you're typically going to overachieve. So, like, how do you create that chemistry comes down to your ability to motivate people to do something for greater good.
You're going to have to do a lot of motivating because the playoffs and it gets intensified.
Yeah.
Intensified.
No doubt.
JB, man, I appreciate the time. Good luck the rest of the season and congrats for the season you had, man. All-star head coach, man. I mean, I'm hoping that you are taking a moment to appreciate the fact that you're now on top of things.
No, I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
I'm happy to be here.
Yeah. Thanks again to Pistons head coach JB Bickerstaff. I told y'all he was old school to his heart, right? That's how the guy coaches, respecting old school methods. Here in Detroit, you're in the enterprise zone and you're leaving the enterprise zone. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening.